Hello, students. I am now going to go over Vocabulary 5's words, and I thought, what better way to do this than to tell a story? We all love stories. I'm going to make it an ancient medieval story about a king and someone who is trying to overthrow him. Once upon a time, there was a king of great renown, with a great retinue of servants and followers. A retinue is followers or servants who accompany an important person. And this king was beloved by all. However, there was a rival in a nearby village who decided to go against the king to become in power. And he preached to those around him about a great disparity between the king and the people. A disparity is an inequality or a difference. He extolled the king on his various pursuits of overcoming the enemies. However, he did like to mention that the king conscripted many of its fellow citizens in order to win the battles. To conscript is to force someone into military service. He spoke of him highly, and yet with a deep-seated undertone of rancor. Rancor is extreme hatred or ill will. Now the king got wind of this, and instead of being clement about this villager, clement means merciful or lenient, his ambition was unfettered. Unfettered means free of restrictions. And he decided to go after this villager. He was adamant that everything the villager said was a lie. Adamant means he was unyielding. He was firm in his opinion. And so the battle began. Now, the king imputed into the reputation of this villager complete deceit and prevarication. A deceit to impute means to credit with the cause or fault. So in other words, he imputed deceit. He said that the cause or the fault of this villager is his deceit, and that he's prevaricating or lying, not telling the truth. Most citizens didn't really pay attention to this because they were busy working. And many of them didn't want to get involved because they were diffident, they were shy, they were lacking in self-confidence. All they knew is that they loved their king and that they were hearing things about him. Now, the ostensible reason for this villager going against him was that the king was actually corrupt. Ostensible meaning the professed, but not necessarily true. So the villager was ostensibly saying that the king was corrupt. And the king, hearing this, could have brushed it off. However, his rage was inexorable, and he had to get revenge. Inexorable means unrelenting or unavoidable. Of course, that caused a political battle between the two, full of cliches and hackneyed phrases that had nothing to do with what was actually going on. A cliche is a worn-out idea or an overused expression. One night, the king went to see an opus at the local town hall. An opus is a creative work, especially a numbered composition. And while he was there, somebody came up to him and asked him about his thoughts about this villager who was in an uprising against him. Well, the king prated on and on about how evil this villager was, to prate is to talk pointlessly and at length. So much, in fact, that it started to look as if he were not telling the truth, because he didn't actually have the facts. The villager and the king went back and forth. Both of them conscripted people under their armies. Both of them set polarizing views about one another, and the people in the village and in the countryside had to take sides. And then came the day of the battle. And in that battle, well, I guess you'll never know what actually happened. I hope you enjoyed this little story with a cliffhanger about the king and the rival villager in this make-believe land, using all of these vocabulary words, which are great words, by the way. Have a great day.